What if everything fans think they're seeing on Raw right now is completely wrong? What if Liv Morgan's return wasn't about reuniting Judgment Day, reclaiming momentum, or easing back into the spotlight? Because when you slow things down and actually look at what's happening, it starts to feel like something far more calculated is unfolding. Not loud, not reckless, quiet, strategic, and potentially devastating for everyone standing too close to her. Since Survivor Series, Liv Morgan hasn't rushed anything. She hasn't demanded control. She hasn't openly challenged anyone's authority. Instead, she's done something far more dangerous. She's positioned herself at the center of every decision without ever announcing that's what she's doing. That's the part fans tend to miss. The Miracle Kid didn't return to Judgment Day to follow orders. She returned to reshape it. At first glance, everything looked fine. Liv steps back into the group, the chemistry feels familiar, and Judgment Day appears ready to reassert dominance on Monday Night Raw. But beneath that surface, the balance of power immediately shifted. Conversations started happening around her, not with her. And when that happens in WWE storytelling, it's never accidental. It's the first signal that tension is being planted, not resolved. The clearest crack appeared when Liv seemed poised to challenge for the Women's World Championship. The direction felt obvious, natural, almost inevitable. And then Raquel Rodriguez inserted herself into the title picture without consulting Liv. On paper, it looked like ambition. In reality, it was a challenge, one that directly undercut Liv's quiet authority within the faction. Liv didn't explode. She didn't confront Raquel. She didn't cause a scene. And that's exactly why it matters. WWE rarely writes explosive reactions when they're building something deeper. Liv smiled, nodded, and acted like everything was fine. But wrestling history tells us that when someone reacts calmly to being undermined, it usually means they're already thinking 3 steps ahead. That tension only grew as the Women's World title match was set. A triple threat. High stakes, high pressure. And suddenly, Judgment Day's unity felt less like a strength and more like a liability. The former tag team champions were no longer aligned, even if they pretended to be. The faction was fractured, and everyone could feel it, even if no one said it out loud. Then came Roxanne Perez. Her presence complicated everything. Before Liv's injury, Roxanne wasn't part of the plan. In fact, Liv wasn't even on board with her being involved in Judgment Day at all. Finn Balor's apparent attempt to slide Roxanne into Liv's spot raised eyebrows back then, and it never really sat right. That history matters now. What changed is Liv's reaction. Instead of rejecting Roxanne, she embraced her, publicly supported her, defended her, and on the surface, it looked like growth. Like Liv had softened. But if you followed Liv Morgan's career, you know she doesn't do anything without intent. This wasn't acceptance. It was alignment. Roxanne Perez is young, ambitious, and eager to prove she belongs. That makes her valuable. Liv knows what it's like to fight for relevance, and she also knows how to use that hunger to her advantage. Supporting Roxanne doesn't just earn loyalty. It creates leverage. And in a faction built on power struggles, leverage is everything. The moment that really exposed the tension came when Raquel inadvertently cost Roxanne her match against Bayley. The word inadvertently does a lot of heavy lifting there, because in WWE, accidents often function as catalysts. Backstage, the argument that followed wasn't just about a mistake. It was about blame, about control, about who gets to decide how Judgment Day operates. Roxanne blaming Raquel wasn't just frustration. It was alignment. She wasn't venting to Liv. She was choosing a side. And Liv didn't shut it down. She let it breathe, let it linger. That silence said more than any promo could, because it showed Liv wasn't interested in smoothing things over. She was interested in seeing how far the divide could stretch. From there, the story stopped being just about the women. Judgment Day has never been a stable unit. Finn Balor's leadership has always been questioned. Damian Priest has carried the weight of being the group's backbone, often without the full support he deserved. Dominic Mysterio has survived by attaching himself to whoever holds the most influence at the time. Liv's return didn't create instability. It exposed it. Pay attention to how Liv interacts with Damian Priest lately. There's respect, but there's also distance. Priest isn't positioned as the unquestioned leader anymore. He's portrayed as vulnerable, frustrated, human. WWE doesn't frame former world champions like that unless they're setting them up for something significant. And rarely is that something positive. Priest's recent losses and growing frustration make him the most logical target for an internal shift. He's strong enough that taking him down means something, and isolated enough that it feels possible. Liv aligning herself with others while Priest stands alone isn't random. It's visual storytelling, and WWE has been very intentional with the camera lingering on Liv's reactions during moments where Priest's authority is tested. Finn Balor's role in all of this cannot be ignored. His history with Judgment Day is complicated. Despite being a founding member, he's often felt overshadowed, particularly during Priest's championship moments. Finn is patient, calculated. He doesn't lash out. He waits, and right now, waiting works in his favor. An alliance between Finn Balor and Liv Morgan makes too much sense to be coincidence. Both thrive on manipulation rather than brute force. Both understand timing, and both benefit from a reshaped Judgment Day where power isn't centralized around Damian Priest. Finn brings experience and credibility. Liv brings chaos and unpredictability. Together, they would redefine the faction entirely. Dominic Mysterio, as always, is the wildcard. His loyalty has never been ideological. It's survival-based. He follows strength. He follows influence. And lately, Liv's influence over him has been subtly emphasized. Backstage glances. In-ring positioning. Who he stands next to when things go wrong. These details matter, especially in WWE's current storytelling style. If Liv were to initiate a betrayal, Dominic would likely follow, not out of malice, but instinct. Aligning with the winning side has always been his move, and Liv offers protection, opportunity, and relevance. Priest, right now, offers uncertainty. The most interesting part of this potential betrayal is how it might happen. WWE doesn't always go for shock attacks anymore, especially not with layered characters. A mistimed save, a distraction, a refusal to intervene. Something small that costs Priest a crucial match. Something Liv could plausibly deny while still sending a message. That kind of betrayal hits harder because it feels real. Because it mirrors how power shifts actually happen. Not through explosions, but through quiet decisions made when no one's looking. Finn standing back. Liv watching. Dominic hesitating. And suddenly, Priest realizes he's alone. Another possibility is isolation rather than outright betrayal. Decisions being made without Priest's input. Priorities shifting away from his interests. Judgment Day operating as if he's still there, but no longer essential. That slow burn would stretch the story for weeks, letting tension build until the inevitable collapse. From a character standpoint, this benefits everyone involved. Liv Morgan solidifies herself as a mastermind rather than an underdog. Finn Balor regains his edge as a dangerous tactician. Dominic continues his evolution as a morally flexible survivor. Damian Priest gains sympathy as a betrayed leader, setting him up for either redemption or revenge. Fans have already started noticing the signs. Social media discussions are filled with speculation about Liv's true intentions. People are analyzing her body language, her positioning, her expressions. WWE thrives on that kind of engagement. They reward attention. And right now, attention is exactly where this story is headed. It's also impossible to ignore how Liv's presentation has changed. Her promos are sharper, her aggression more controlled. This isn't the same Liv Morgan who fought to be taken seriously. This version expects respect and knows how to punish those who withhold it. A betrayal would be the natural next step in completing that transformation. Nothing is officially confirmed. WWE rarely confirms these things in advance. But the pieces are all there. Liv's ambition, Finn's resentment, Dominic's adaptability, Priest's vulnerability. Judgment Day has always thrived on tension, and it feels overdue for its next evolution. If the betrayal happens on next week's Raw, it likely won't be loud. It won't be dramatic in the traditional sense. It will be chilling, calculated, personal. And when it finally becomes undeniable, fans will look back and realize the warning signs were there all along. Whether Liv pulls the trigger now or continues playing the long game remains to be seen. But one thing is clear. Judgment Day's days of uneasy unity are numbered. And when the balance of power finally shifts, WWE Raw may never look the same again.